Fill in the blank for me. Today, Mary J. Blige is...
Strong.
Mary J. Blige stunned her fans with a heartbreaking revelation about the trials that shaped her formidable strength. Through a cascade of significant challenges tied to her family, career, and toxic relationships, Blige openly confessed that her perspective on life had diverged dramatically from others. Now, take a deep breath to listen to her sad story. Mary J. Blige's life was marred by significant hardship and emotional struggle, which profoundly shaped her as both a person and an artist. Her childhood was characterized by a complex blend of family turmoil and financial instability, factors that would later inform the depth and authenticity of her music. Mary J. Blige's father, Thomas Blige, had returned from the Vietnam War, carrying with him the heavy burdens of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. His struggles with mental health and the trauma of war left him severely affected, unable to fulfill his role as a stable provider for his family. According to biography, the consequences of his wartime experiences were profound and debilitating, making it impossible for him to support his family adequately. The emotional scars of his service were evident, and his inability to cope with civilian life led him to abandon his family. Mary J. Blige reflected on this in an interview with Vulture, revealing a poignant insight into her father's condition. She said, "By the time I was born, he was out of Vietnam, but he wasn't all the way there. I guess him leaving us at an early age was a part of him wanting to escape a lot of things." This statement underscores the deep-seated issues that plagued Thomas Blige and the indirect impact they had on Mary and her family. Left to manage on her own, Cora Blige, Mary's mother, faced the overwhelming responsibility of single-handedly raising her children. The absence of her husband and the associated financial strain meant that Cora had to work long hours to provide for her family. The relentless grind of balancing multiple jobs to ensure her children were well fed and cared for left her with little time or energy for anything else. Mary J. Blige's early experiences of hardship and lack of stability were emblematic of the broader struggles her family faced during those years. As Mary J. Blige grew older, the full impact of these early experiences became clearer to her. In a reflective moment captured in her documentary, My Life, Blige acknowledged the pain and complexity of her childhood from a more mature perspective. She admitted, "You don't understand the pain you're in or going through until you're older. So now looking back, it's like, wow." This reflection reveals a deep, introspective understanding of how the challenges she faced as a child shaped her emotional landscape. The struggles with her father's PTSD, the strain on her mother, and the financial instability were not just background noise, but pivotal experiences that colored her perception of the world. As a teenager, Mary J. Blige's singular focus on becoming a singer often overshadowed other aspects of her life, particularly her education. Her teenage years were marked by a strong sense of rebellion and an intense dedication to her musical ambitions. Blige openly admitted to her rebellious nature and her tendency to disregard her mother's advice. In an interview with The Big Issue, she reflected on this period, revealing that she dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. This decision, driven by her overwhelming desire to pursue a career in music, was one she came to deeply regret. Blige candidly expressed her regret, saying, "I definitely regret it. I really wish that I had finished getting my education." This acknowledgement highlights a significant turning point in her life, where she began to recognize the value of education that she had once neglected. Blige's defiance extended beyond her academic life and was evident in her interactions with authority figures. According to Oprah, Blige was known for her difficult behavior and confrontational attitude. When questioned by the principal about her involvement in school troubles, she responded with a defiant attitude, drawing from what she had observed in her mother's assertive behavior. Her response, "Because I take no sob," was indicative of her rebellious spirit and her internalized belief in standing up for herself. Blige later reflected on this approach, admitting that it was not the most constructive way to handle the situation. She acknowledged, "I always felt I had something to prove, because Mary J. Blige doesn't take no sow." This sense of defiance, while empowering in many respects, was also a sign of her struggle with authority and her internal conflict during her formative years. Despite the challenges and the rebellious phase of her youth, Blige's later years reflected a remarkable transformation. She recognized the importance of education and took decisive steps to correct her past mistakes. Many years after leaving high school, Blige returned to her education, completing exams to earn her high school diploma. This achievement was not just a personal victory, but also a profound statement about the importance of education. In an interview with the Washington Post, she expressed her newfound appreciation for learning, stating, "When I was a child, I didn't care about getting an education, and I didn't finish high school. But I got a second chance, and what I came to understand about education is that it is the key to life." Blige's commitment to supporting education extended beyond her personal achievements. She founded the Mary J. Blige and Steve Stout Foundation for the Advancement of Women Now, AWN, to assist women in furthering their education. The foundation provides college scholarships and other support to women, underscoring Blige's belief in the transformative power of education. This initiative represents a significant effort to give back to the community and support others in overcoming the educational barriers she once faced. When Mary J. Blige was working on her seminal second album, My Life, she was grappling with profound personal struggles that significantly impacted her mental health. The creation of this album, often hailed as a classic in the genre of soul and R&B, took place during a period of intense emotional turmoil for Blige. In an interview with BuzzFeed, she revealed the depth of her vulnerability and the ways in which her pain intertwined with her creative process. Blige described herself as being in a vulnerable, horrible state of mind and admitted that her primary way of coping with this turmoil was through her music. Blige's emotional state during the recording of My Life was marked by a profound sense of anguish. She confessed to BuzzFeed that the process of making the album was excruciatingly painful. "It was painful. I was in so much pain singing. I was really in so much pain. I was crying singing a lot of those songs," she recalled. The act of singing these deeply personal and raw tracks was not just a form of artistic expression, but also a way of dealing with her real-life issues. Even as she recorded, Blige had to return to her daily life, continuing to face and manage the very pain that fueled the emotional depth of her music. The impact of My Life on Blige's own life was profound and multifaceted. Despite the album's success and the comfort it provided to many listeners, Blige was initially unaware of the extent to which her music would resonate with others. At that time, her focus was more on surviving her personal crises than on the potential positive effects her work could have. Blige was candid about her state of mind during this period, revealing that she was actively trying to numb her emotions. The album, while a creative outlet, was also a refuge from the intense pain she was feeling. The deep connection between Blige and her fans played a crucial role in her survival during this difficult time. As she struggled with thoughts of self-harm and overwhelming emotional distress, the support and dedication of her audience provided a lifeline. In an interview with People, Blige reflected on the impact her fans had on her well-being. She recounted how the emotional investment and fervor of her listeners made her reconsider her darkest impulses. "I think subconsciously I was like, oh, I can't kill myself now. All these people, somebody's going to come behind me," Blige explained. The unwavering support and emotional attachment of her fans served as a powerful counterweight to her feelings of despair, helping to anchor her even when she felt adrift. Mary J. Blige's battle with substance abuse is a poignant chapter in her life story, reflecting a broader struggle with pain and self-medication. Her descent into drug and alcohol use began in her early years, a time when she was grappling with unresolved trauma and emotional distress. As reported by Self, Blige turned to drugs as a means of coping, seeking temporary relief from the deep-seated pain that marked her early life. The allure of substances lay in their promise of escape and transformation, offering a fleeting sense of courage and beauty. Blige herself explained the temptation of drugs, noting, "You're taking drugs so you can go out and feel courageous, or go out and feel beautiful or whatever. You're doing it to cover up something." This statement underscores the role of substances as a temporary salve for deeper emotional wounds. Blige's addiction to drugs and alcohol escalated over time, becoming a significant challenge in her life. It was only after experiencing profound personal losses that she began to recognize the severity of her problem. In an interview with The Guardian in 2008, Blige shared a turning point in her awareness of her addiction. The death of a close friend and the tragic passing of singer Aaliyah were pivotal moments for Blige. She reflected on these events with a sense of urgency, stating, "I saw my life going down a drain. One of my real close girlfriends died. I thought I was next. And then Aaliyah died. And I realized I didn't want to die like this. Not tragic like this." These losses confronted Blige with the stark reality of her own mortality and the destructive path she was on. The fear of following a similar tragic trajectory spurred her to confront her addiction and seek help. Blige's personal struggle with addiction also led her to empathize deeply with other artists who faced similar battles. The death of Amy Winehouse in July 2011, attributed to alcohol poisoning, struck a particularly resonant chord with Blige. She felt a profound connection to Winehouse's struggles, understanding the pain and challenges that had led to her demise. Blige candidly expressed her feelings about Winehouse's situation, saying, "I understand exactly what she's going through, and people always ask, 'What advice do you have for her?' Well, I have so much to say to her." Blige's empathy was rooted in her own experiences, and her recognition of how addiction could lead to a tragic end. She acknowledged that she, too, had lashed out and made destructive choices when she was in a dark place, highlighting the common threads of vulnerability and despair shared by those struggling with substance abuse. Mary J. Blige's tumultuous relationship with her family played a significant role in shaping her personal and professional life. Growing up, Blige faced a challenging home environment that deeply affected her sense of self and her journey toward success. According to an interview with The Guardian, Blige described her family's environment as fraught with negativity. She candidly expressed her feelings about her relatives, stating, "The environment that I was in, they'll be mad at me. But it's the truth. They were angry, hateful, jealous, ignorant, prideful people." Blige felt that the toxic traits she observed in her family had cast a shadow over her own identity and contributed to her being perceived as an angry, mad, ignorant black woman in the music industry. This perception, she believed, was a direct reflection of the difficult environment from which she came. Her family's lack of support and encouragement was evident from an early age. Blige recounted how an aunt once told her that she would never be able to graduate high school, a sentiment that mirrored the general discouragement she faced. Many family members seemed disinterested in her ambitions, actively undermining her goals and aspirations. This lack of familial support was compounded by strained relationships with her immediate family. Blige's relationship with her mother, Cora, was particularly complex. Blige felt that her mother was living vicariously through her, and this dynamic led to a deep-seated bitterness. "It might be that she's living vicariously through me, but I believe she's gotten real bitter about it. It's probably why we've never really got along," Blige explained. This strained relationship added another layer of difficulty to her already challenging life. Blige's father, Thomas Blige, was also a significant figure in her life, but their relationship was marked by distance and disconnection. Thomas Blige, having struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from his time in the Vietnam War, was absent for much of Mary's childhood. When they did reconnect, their interactions were often centered around his past experiences as a musician, which left Mary feeling disconnected and frustrated. The challenge of finding common ground with her father during these conversations further complicated their relationship. Despite these early difficulties, Blige's story is not one of unrelenting conflict. Over time, she worked on mending her relationship with her mother. One significant moment of reconciliation and appreciation came when Blige celebrated her mother in the VH1 special, Dear Mama, an event to honor moms. This public acknowledgement of her mother represented a turning point, showing that despite their past struggles, Blige had come to a place of recognition and respect for her mother's role in her life. On January 23, 2014, Mary J. Blige's father, Thomas Blige, became the victim of a violent attack that drew significant media attention. The incident occurred in Battle Creek, Michigan, and was reported as a domestic dispute. According to the Huffington Post, Thomas Blige was critically injured when his ex-girlfriend attacked him. The assault involved Thomas being stabbed 3 times, including a severe neck injury. He was rushed to a local hospital where he underwent emergency surgery to address his injuries. The assailant, identified as Cheryl White, was subsequently tracked down by police at her apartment. The relationship between Thomas Blige and Cheryl White had a history of turbulence and conflict. It was reported that the couple had a contentious past, marked by at least 7 domestic violence complaints filed against them. This pattern of conflict was evident in Thomas's testimony during the court trial, where he acknowledged the severity of their relationship issues. Thomas Blige described their interactions as fraught with frequent disputes, stating, "Me and Cheryl have serious domestic problems. The day before we were fighting and the police were called. We have verbal fights multiple times, an enormous number of times," via USA Today. The legal consequences for Cheryl White were significant. In the aftermath of the attack, she was sentenced to 365 days in jail for her role in the violent incident. Additionally, she was ordered to pay over $17,000 in restitution to cover Thomas Blige's medical expenses. This legal action highlighted the serious nature of the assault and the financial burden it placed on Thomas Blige. In addition, Mary J. Blige's tumultuous marriage to Martin Isaacs unraveled amidst a period of significant personal and public distress. The couple's separation, which became public knowledge, was marked by a series of revelations and challenges that underscored the singer's struggles during that time. Blige's candid remarks about the breakdown of her marriage reveal the depth of her suffering. She described the final years of her relationship with Isaacs as hell and ugly, admitting to the Associated Press that the turmoil was both personal and public. The singer's struggle was compounded by the fact that she felt trapped in a situation that seemed to deteriorate despite her best efforts to salvage it. She said, "I don't know if people saw the last 8 or 5 years of my life, but it's been hell, and it's been ugly, and it's been public, and it's been nasty." This acknowledgement of her pain highlighted the intense emotional and psychological toll the breakdown of her marriage had on her. Blige's battle to hold on to her principles during the marriage's final stages was particularly poignant. She described her efforts to fight for her morals in the face of overwhelming challenges, suggesting a deep conflict between her personal values and the deteriorating reality of her relationship. Her public struggle was mirrored in her private life, where she grappled with the betrayal and emotional fallout from the separation. The legal and financial ramifications of the divorce added another layer of complexity to Blige's situation. A judge mandated that Blige pay $30,000 in temporary spousal support to Isaacs, which compounded her financial and emotional strain. The requirement for spousal support was a painful reminder of the financial entanglements and the perceived unfairness of the divorce settlement. Blige expressed her disillusionment with Isaacs in a conversation with Variety, revealing her feelings of betrayal and loss. She reflected on how her perception of her marriage and Isaacs was shattered, saying, "I thought someone loved me, right? Turns out, he was a con artist and he didn't, and now he's coming after me for all my money." This statement underscored her sense of betrayal and the realization that she had been deceived about the true nature of her relationship. The revelation of Isaacs's infidelity further deepened Blige's emotional wounds. In the VH1 documentary Strength of a Woman, Blige disclosed that Isaacs had an affair with Starshell, a singer and actress whom Blige had previously mentored. This betrayal was particularly painful for Blige, as it involved someone she had supported in the past. She shared her feelings of humiliation and anger in an interview with rapper Neo, saying, "All these years have come to this, like, you didn't even pick me, you picked somebody else. That sigh is humiliating." This revelation highlighted the profound impact of Isaac's actions on Blige's self-esteem and personal sense of worth. Mary J. Blige's album, Strength of a Woman, released in 2017, emerged from a deeply personal and tumultuous period in her life, specifically during the breakdown of her marriage to Martin Isaacs. As Blige navigated the painful and public disintegration of her relationship, she channeled her experiences into her music, turning the album into both a therapeutic exercise and a powerful outlet for her emotional struggles. Before the divorce was finalized, Blige was already in the process of creating the album. Initially, she approached it with a sense of optimism, aiming to capture the essence of fighting for her relationship. However, as the marriage deteriorated, Blige felt compelled to reframe the album to reflect the raw and evolving reality of her life. The result was a project deeply infused with her personal pain, growth, and eventual empowerment. Blige's decision to use Strength of a Woman as a means of expression was driven by an intense need to externalize her emotions. She described the process as a necessary release, saying, "There was no moment where I felt like I was going to keep this in because it was way too much for me to handle on my own." The music became a vessel through which she could navigate and make sense of her experiences, providing an emotional outlet for the overwhelming feelings that accompanied her divorce. The album's content reflects this emotional journey, incorporating a wide range of themes from anguish to resilience. For instance, the song Glow Up exemplifies Blige's response to betrayal and personal betrayal. This track, infused with themes of revenge and empowerment, speaks to her desire to reclaim her strength and self-worth. In contrast, Smile represents a more hopeful perspective, focusing on moving forward and finding love again. This juxtaposition of emotions, from anger and pain to hope and renewal, captures the complexity of Blige's experiences and the evolution of her personal narrative. Blige has consistently emphasized the therapeutic nature of her music. She acknowledged that creating and performing these songs was a crucial part of her healing process. "My music is therapeutic to me," she said, underlining how the act of songwriting and recording served as a means to confront and process her emotional turmoil. This therapeutic aspect of her music allowed her to work through her feelings in a constructive way, transforming her pain into a source of strength and artistic expression. What do you think about the tragedies that happened in Mary J. Blige's life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.